What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mo.J. This is the Mo You Know. If you haven't heard, Donald J. Trump, your president of the United States of America, thinks that the January 6th rioters, terrorist thugs, vicious protesters, killers, deserve compensation for being unlawfully arrested and put behind bars where they belong before Donald Trump pardoned them. Now, from my understanding, I always thought that Donald Trump said that these J6ers were all leftists. They were all put there by the FBI. But now you're telling us that these are innocent people, which we know they are. They're thugs. And he wants to give them compensation. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into this article. I'm going to let you hear from Donald J. Trump's mouth himself about what he thinks about doing. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm on that road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's see what Donald J. got to say. Oh, Donnie.
No, but I took care of them. I said I was going to, and I did.
Is there any talk of, because they lost opportunity, they lost income, any kind of compensation fund?
Well, there's talk about that. We have a lot of people talk about it. A lot of the people that are in government now talk about it because a lot of the people in government really like that group of people. They were patriots as far as I was concerned. I talk about them a lot. They were treated very unfairly. You know, the thing they show is they show a group of 1,000, whatever it may have been, 1,500 people down. What they don't show, you never see the crowd that day. It was the biggest crowd I've ever spoken before. It went all the way to the Washington Monument. It was so wide, you virtually couldn't see anything else but people. They never show that. Whether it was 1 million people or less than 1 million, I don't know what it was, but you know, I see Bernie Sanders has a few people out there. They say, oh, the crowd is so big. They don't talk about the crowds. But a group of people went down there peacefully and patriotically. Remember that. You know,
Trump opened a possible compensation fund for pardoned January 6 criminals. Would Trump reward January 6 rioters with some kind of reparations? There's talk about that in the administration, the president said. Now, what I find interesting before we get in this article is these are criminals. They were arrested for doing criminal activities, and then they were pardoned by him, and he wants to compensate them. But he's sending illegals, some that are citizens who are actually legal, to other countries without any compensation. I just don't understand the logic of these guys, but this is what happens when you have these individuals. I was going to say idiots, even though they are. You have these individuals that don't know a damn thing about what they're doing. They're just here to stuff their pockets and do whatever they feel that their supporters will agree with. Given how deeply divided Americans are on so many issues, it's heartening to see that there are still some issues that can bring people with different beliefs and values together. Take January 6 pardons, for example. A poll on the Washington Post released last month found lopsided results on one of Donald Trump's signature issues, the president's least popular action in his decision to pardon all of those convicted of crimes in the wake of the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. More than 8 out of 10 opposed the pardons for those who were convicted of violent crimes. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out here. I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this right now, we are all 10 out of 10 not in agreement with this. There's no way that these people should be pardoned and back on the streets from what they did. They tried to overthrow our government. By most measures, 83% of Americans don't agree on much, but they agree that pardoning violent criminals who clashed with police and attacked their own country's capital was not a good move. Now, just for a reminder of what actually happened, I'm going to throw a little short clip in there. And we'll use this as a reminder of what actually happened January 6, 2021, when we were all in the house during a pandemic with our eyes glued on the television, wondering how the hell are these white people getting away with these terroristic acts.
Multiple capital injuries! Multiple capital injuries!
On his first day in office, President Donald Trump granted clemency to every person charged or convicted for their role in the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol, even those convicted of violently assaulting police officers. While many people had no criminal record prior to committing crimes on January 6, NPR has identified dozens of defendants with prior convictions of pending charges for crimes including R-word, sexual abuse of a minor, domestic violence, manslaughter, production of child X abuse, material, and drug trafficking. One of those defendants, Matthew Huddle, was recently shot and deleted by law enforcement in Indiana during a traffic stop just days after receiving a pardon for his role in the Capitol riot. In 2023, Huddle pled guilty to entering and remaining in a restricted building on grounds on January 6 and received a sentence of 6 months in prison before he got out, and he was ultimately deleted. Now, this is just a couple of examples of people that were actually arrested and released by Donald Trump, Mr. Crackdown on Crime, Mr. Get the illegal criminals out of the country. Meanwhile, he just let all the January 6 terrorists loose on these streets. All right, I really don't have to ask you guys, what do you think about it? Because I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement. None of them deserve any kind of compensation. They need to all be locked back up. They should at least got 5 years for what they did for trying to overturn the government. But let me know what you think below. Is this a good idea, or is this just something else that old Donnie Trump has up his sleeve that he thinks makes America great again? Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. You guys have a good day, and just know that compensation will come out of your taxes. Thanks for watching. I'm out.